Thoughts?
Halfway, man. It's like Groundhog Day around here, but it is. This was, a good halfway point. I feel like that, the guys are progressing like that we hoped that they would, and just, the strain of camp is on them right now, but they're pushing through. The environment, the attitude is completely different than a year ago, and that's very promising.
What are you doing at the nickel position right now?
Well, of course, Greg Brooks has been playing out there, and we've worked Micah Smith both at corner and nickel, and then we got Simeon Blair, Nate Perotti. We got a lot of guys that are kind of rotating in and getting some work in that spot. Really, it's a spot that any corner can go in and play with as much, wide open 11, 10 personnel that we see. That's really a third corner that's out on the field. So the skill sets overlap a lot between nickel and corner.
Is Kevin working there at all?
We've not. We've played him at high safety. He's been high so far, but that's something that Jalen can do as well. Yeah, we have not worked him there yet, though.
Has Curl worked there some?
No, Cam has not. He's been high.
Have you guys done any dime work, and if so, who've been the extra DBs there?
We have. We've brought, we've rotated a lot of guys. We're trying to kind of figure out the right matchups there. We've taken, Joe Fouché has come from high down and worked at some of the dime position and brought Miles Mason in back there over the top. And then kept the same rest of the secondary in. That's kind of how we've run it so far through camp with the first group.
Brooks banged up right now.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I'm not sure.
And so McClellan was in green. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. Anytime that they're in green, it's just a little precautionary. They go through all the practice, but just the live stuff, we keep them out of that.
I know we talked the other day. You said Jerquez, he's kind of the leader back there, most experienced guy, even though he's pretty young. What kind of camp does he have?
He only started 9 games a year ago, and he's just a young player, but still he's got more experience than any of the other corners that we have. And he really has had a great camp. And in the meeting room in here, he really has taken over that leadership role within the corners, and Cam Curl likewise within the safeties.
And he sees what time the young guys might hit the wall. What's the key to kind of preventing that or helping them through it?
That's a good point right there, and they do. They got to push through. The good part about it right now during training camp is to get their minds mentally prepared for what the days are going to be like, and really to help them push through. The older players have to come along and put their arms around them and help encourage them, and they've done a great job of that. The attitude and the mindset's been fantastic with them, and we see them coming here every day with an attitude of working. We get to do this, not as opposed to we have to do it.
Were you happy with the performances at the scrimmage, and what did you want to see?
I really have been. Really what you're looking for is the effort and the guys that can, play when they're tired and strain whenever that's needed. So, and we've seen that throughout camp. Obviously, there's some guys in situations here or there where you wish you had a little bit more, but that's part of camp, where we can teach them and learn from those moments so that when we do see those again during the season, hopefully they'll prevail.
Has McClure worked any nickel at all?
He has. He's been in at with the inside backers, but we've also slid him out there. That Sam nickel position is very similar. So when we get bigger personnels, we'll have our base defense, which includes the Sam in there, which is where he's working.
Burrito's a guy that's had a lot of knee issues. I think you said you guys are going to be kind of careful with him. How's he doing?
He's had a great camp. He's done a really good job. We've monitored the workload that we put on it, but he's responded, and the more he responds, we put a little bit more on him and a little bit more on him, and he's done a great job. He's maintained that, longer than he did during spring ball, and he's really come back healthy with that knee. So we're still going to monitor it and make sure that we take care of him, but we also are going to work to get him ready.
You guys haven't done team stuff in a while. When we've been out there, but I guess it's still McClellan and Brown, Bishop and Bush.
It's been a rotation. We've worked a lot of different guys within different groups, including Micah Smith out there in that rotation. So, and we're going to continue to mix it up, and work guys on both sides and just put them in some different positions where we see how they respond when they're out there.
I know you said you guys don't want to hit the boundary in the field because the offenses run so fast now, but so has everybody been double training right end, left side?
Yeah, we have, so we end up working right side and left side with them again because the offenses go so fast, you don't have time to flip field and boundary all the time. But over the course of practice, we may say, hey, this session, you go work on the opposite sides of where you've been, just to make sure we get work on both sides.
Based on these first 10 practices now, just how good do you feel about the corners?
I feel really good about them. Obviously we have a lot of work to do, but based on where we were a year ago to right now, I feel great about them. But it's not just them; it's how they've gelled within the rest of the secondary, now tying the front to the back. We've taken the next step in terms of defense about now those guys are understanding more that not just what I do, but maybe what are the guys doing around me and how it relates to I play my technique and what I'm doing. So with that, we've had a lot of growth.
And Chad said Brown had a pick, I think it was, in the scrimmage. What kind of camp did you see?
You know, he could have had 3 right there really in the same drive, and he really has. You know, I'm really proud of Monteric. You know, he's done a great job. He was at safety when we got here and he started. We moved him to corner, and it took him a little bit, but he really grasped it. He really just he took the bull by the horns and said, I'm going to be really good at this. He's got a nice long body and long arms and frame. His footwork has really cleaned up over the course of spring ball, and he did a great job of working himself out throughout the summer to making sure he was clean with everything that we're asking him to do, and he's really, you know, come into his own, and I expect a lot of great things from him.
You say clean, you mean technique?
Yes, clean with his fundamentals and his technique.
I don't know if you meant even eating better.
Oh, no, I mean, he's such a lean body anyways right there. You know, that's something that maybe Whitney's not as concerned about his body mass. Yeah.
I guess him and Jarquez are roommates. Do you think that helps?
You know, I do, because when they go home, this is what they talk about. They watch video together, and we talk about that in the meeting room, that those guys really, when they come off to the side, they're communicating with each other. What did you see on your side? What did we see on my side? How would we handle that? Things of that nature. So that's really good that guys like that, they do live together, and they're doing this all day long.
I know Chiefs talked about wanting to increase takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's realistic to average 3 a game, but he said if you guys can do that, you're going to be pretty good.
Well, we're going for it. You know, that's our goal, and that's what we're striving for. So, and we try to emphasize that every day in practice. We do a takeaway circuit. We incorporate those into our individual drills, where we want to always focus on taking the ball away in everything that we do.
Any big takeaways today?
No, none that was notable today. We had some opportunities and balls were in the air. We didn't come down with any today.
You talked about culture when you were opening remarks.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen from that, just in terms of the second year?
Well, just the buy-in, the general buy-in of everyone on the team, and obviously the leadership from our older players about bringing the younger players along. So everything that we're doing has everything to do with our culture. So we're seeing that buy-in. Everyone, you know, you don't see guys on the list, you know, like we've had before. So the guys, that just shows you when you're not having to spend as much time worrying about those things, you know everybody's bought in with what we're doing on the field.
What do you like from Devin Bush, though?
You know, Devin has had a really solid camp. He's going to continue to progress. And I have to remind myself, he really is a true freshman. You know, he was here in the spring, so we got to see him and work with him throughout the spring. But he really is a true freshman, and the more that we put on him, he's responded to it. So he's done a great job. But we're trying to just bring him along slowly. You know, we're conscientious of that with our progression with the younger players, and then also straining them at the same time, and kind of how much can they handle, and then continuing to just stack that on top of it. But he's done a great job
They might already
continuing
asked
to
you
go.
about Brooks. Is he in the same kind of boat, bringing him along, or you got to advance him faster?
No, he's just like Devin, those guys as young players, but we're here in the spring, so we kind of expect a little bit more of them in certain areas, but, you know, we're straining him as well, you know, and we want to continue to add as much as we can add and keep them in some adverse situations and see how they respond, because then you know what they might do on a Saturday. But both of those guys are sharp, they're smart, they understand the game, and hopefully that'll help us have an impact on Saturdays.
How big was it you had those fresh?
He's been doing great. You know, I'm really happy with Day. You know, yesterday was his birthday, and he's just 19 years old. So he came out and he had a great practice. But he, of all of the guys right there, you know, I think he could really be special. You know, as you watch him and his development and growth, especially from when we got here to right now. I mean, it's really night and day with his growth. So, you know, I'm real excited about him and just continuing to stack good days on top of good days with Day and see where it goes.
You had some of those young true freshmen in spring ball. Looking back on it, how big a plus was that?
It's a huge plus. I always say that it is. You know, even more so from a standpoint of that once they're here, they've adjusted to the college life now, because a lot of these freshmen who just got here in the summer, during the month of August, it's really just training camp and it's all football for them. Once school starts for them, then they've got to balance the school schedule with everything else that we're doing. So sometimes that transition, you know, is easier for some players and more difficult for others. So the guys that are here in the spring, they've already had time to go through that adjustment. So I think that is an advantage for them.
Yeah. So I did this graphic with all the corner. I just want to make sure I don't leave anybody out, even the walk-on. So you got over there working corner, you got McCully and Brown, Bishop, Bush, Brito, Micah Smith, Brooks. You mentioned Simeon Blair.
Yeah, we got Hudson Clark has worked out there as well. Malik Chavis has been working out there as well. Yep.
What have you seen from Malik so far?
Yeah, Malik's got a great long frame. You know, he's really what you like a body type to be in a corner. Extremely long arms, and he can run. I mean, he's really fast. So what we're working with Malik right now is just his technique and his fundamentals. And you know, as soon as those kind of come along, and he's progressed so far through 10 practices, I mean, it's really a big difference in what he's done. He's going to be a really special player. Just got to bring him along in a natural progression.
You anticipate getting Greg back for this week or for the scrimmage?
I don't know. I don't know when they. Yeah. What it? I hope so. I know it's not a major thing, but yeah.
What are you looking for out of the scrimmage too on Saturday?
Well, just to see another step in the right direction. You know, we got some different scenarios. I know that coach is going to work, so you know, I just want to see them continue to progress. If they're making the same mistakes they made last Saturday, then you know that the progression's a little bit slower. But hopefully, the mistakes they made a week ago, they don't make those this week, and they've learned from them. So that's really what we're looking for. Did they do the same thing wrong 2 weeks in a row, or do they have the ability to correct that and then continue on?
I know it stays a fluid situation, as you talked about. You know, right now maybe 6 or 7 spots left. In those spots, what are y'all looking for?
With in terms of recruiting and all that.
And I know best player available is always the.
Oh yeah, we're always looking for guys, but really, you know, skill positions, speed is always at a premium. But you know, we're looking for really, you know, DBs. This will be probably another 3 or 4 DBs that we'll take commitments from and sign either in December or in February. But really, it's, you know, those skill position spots.
And obviously you go in the season with a certain amount. How do you go about just you continue to recruit spots and you can only take so many? I mean, just talk to me about that philosophy.
Yeah, you know, well, we kind of have a gauge of a number that we have in mind, but it's always a moving target. You know, things happen on your current team, and then you know that sometimes you anticipate them and sometimes you don't. But it's kind of a moving target. So ours, you know, we always, you know, set the number high. And then, you know, that way we're recruiting enough guys at each spot, and then we kind of see where the numbers fall out, you know. But it's something that we always want to shoot higher than we need.
Well, last thing I know, when you got here, you looked over the team, and there were areas you knew you had to increase depth. And obviously, offensive line, y'all running 6 defensive backs. How do you think y'all have done that, and how close are y'all to? I know you'll never have the 85 that you want, but you know, how close are y'all to getting to a situation where you feel like you can compete with depth at every spot?
Well, I think that this training camp is a good example of that. You know, we got a full load of guys out there in a 120-man roster, so we're building the depth that we need, and it's still a really young team. I mean, still the majority of our team are either true freshmen, you know, redshirt freshmen, or you know, redshirt sophomores. So the team is really young. But the numbers-wise, we're able to go 4 groups now out there. So, and that's been we couldn't do that a year ago. So now we got 4 groups. So you're developing more guys all across the field, you know, which benefits everybody. And that's just something we weren't in a position to do a year ago. So hopefully we take another step with that, and now we've got some depth even in the 4 deep that we have a year from now.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right.